On the news tonight, NAPTIP says the fight against human trafficking is non-negotiable. 14 political parties participating in the forthcoming Osun governorship election sign peace accord. Good evening and welcome to Nta Ijebu Ode News at 7. My name is Anthony Gandonu. Now the news in details. As Nigeria joins countries around the world in commemorating the 2026 World Day Against Trafficking in Persons, the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, and its partners say the fight against the menace is non-negotiable. Amina Baba Sulaiman reports that this year's theme is trapped behind the scam.
The International Day Against Trafficking in Persons, but also to present a scorecard of Nigeria's success in combating this menace. In year 2026, the fight against sexual exploitation of human trafficking in Nigeria reached a new intensity.
Let us therefore renew our commitment to prevent trafficking, to protect and assist the victims, to prosecute those who organize and profit from this crime.
Traffickers no longer travel to find their victims. They reach them where young people already are, on social media.
The European Union is proud to support Nigeria to the support of migration.
Let us put a collective effort in raising global awareness.
Every citizen to confront one of the gravest crimes of our time.
The stories of survivors who escaped the clutches of human traffickers reminded everyone why NAPTIP must exist.
The auntie who sold her to another family, and Femi was subjected to child abuse, servitude, sexual exploitation, and somehow she was helped to escape, and thanks to NAPTIP for rescuing her.
NAPTIP recorded 2,355 sexual offenders. 455 have been convicted, 1,182 still await trial, and 265 remains under investigation.
Protection of victims remain at the heart of our mandate. Every survivor rescued by NAPTIP deserves some more freedom from exploitation. They deserve the opportunity to rebuild their lives with dignity, confidence, and hope.
These success stories were achieved through partnership with international allies and civil society organizations, confronting transnational crimes and sexual exploitation head-on. Amina Baba Sulaiman, NTA News.
Now to election matters. 14 political parties participating in the August 15 Osun State governorship election have pledged to promote peace, tolerance, and issue-based campaign as part of efforts to ensure a credible and violence-free electoral process. They made the commitment while signing the peace accord organized by the National Peace Committee in Osogbo, the Osun State capital. Details of Femi Afari-Ogun reports will come your way in our subsequent bulletin. To Ogun State, a fresh wave of optimism swept through markets across Ogun Central Senatorial District as 3,000 traders received grants under the Yayi Traders Empowerment Program, offering many the opportunity to restock their shops, expand their businesses, and improve family livelihoods. Yemi Dalimon reports that the intervention is designed to support small-scale traders facing rising operation costs and declining purchasing power.
The smiles and expressions of gratitude from beneficiaries reflected the impact the intervention is expected to have on thousands of small-scale traders struggling with rising operating costs and dwindling purchasing power.
Yayi have empowered a lot of market women and men. Have done a lot for us that we can see.
We appreciate him and we say thank you to our Senator Solomon Olamilekan Yayi.
Speaking at the 5th edition of the program, Chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriations, Senator Solomon Olamilekan Adiola said, The initiative was designed to provide direct support to market women and men, enabling them to expand their businesses and contribute to economic growth at the grassroots. Implemented in partnership with National Productivity Center, the empowerment program provides non-repayable grants of 75,000 naira each to 3,000 traders across Ogun Central senatorial districts.
This is not a loan, but a grant to bring succor to the critical sector of our people and thereby stimulate economic growth. A total number of 10,000 market men and women will be empowered in this year's edition.
Senator Adiola explained that the intervention complements the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the economic support programs of Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun aimed at cushioning the effects of current economic challenges. He noted that beyond cash grants, its intervention programs have facilitated the construction of modern markets, installation of solar-powered boreholes and streetlights to create a more conducive environment for commercial activities. The senator and other stakeholders urged beneficiaries to invest the grants wisely to grow their businesses, expressing confidence that the support would improve livelihoods, create more economic opportunities, and strengthen local markets across the states. In Abeokuta, Yemi Dalemo, NTA News.
To education matters, years of learning, imagination, and artistic excellence took center stage at Taisholari Federal University of Education, Ijagun, Ogun State, as the Department of Creative Arts College of Humanities presents its 2025-2026 final year academic exhibition tagged Visual Alchemy 2026. The exhibition provided a platform for graduating students to showcase their creativity prowess while highlighting the role of arts in innovation, self-reliance, and national development. Fatima Hassan was at the OGD hall of the school and files in the report.
Art is more than colors, fabrics, and clay. It is a powerful language that preserves culture, inspires innovation, and transforms ideas into reality and provides solutions. This came alive as the Department of Creative Arts, College of Humanities, Taisholari Federal University of Education, TASFOED, held the 2025-2026 final year art exhibition tagged Visual Alchemy 26 at the OGD Hall, bringing together lecturers, students, and an external examiner to evaluate and celebrate artistic excellence. The exhibition features outstanding works in painting, ceramics, textiles, graphics, fashion, and sculpture, reflecting the creativity and technical skills of the graduating students. The Deputy Vice Chancellor Academics, Professor Rotimi Etu, who represented the school Vice Chancellor, Professor Samuel Ekundayo, expressed delight at the quality of the artworks, describing the students' creativity as impressive and excellent. He urged them to make judicious use of their talent and assured them that the university management would continue to provide modern facilities to enhance teaching and learning. Head of the department, Professor Oluwakemi Oriola, encouraged the graduating students to apply their creativity, knowledge, and skills in transforming everyday Nigerian challenges into artistic solutions that promote self-reliance and contribute to national wealth creation.
What I've seen here already, are highly impressive. I'll update the Vice Chancellor on the need to assist the department in getting all this necessary equipment, improving whatever they are doing here.
If they can sustain this level of interest and creativity, they don't have any job looking for jobs at the end of the day. Rather, we expect them to go out there to become employers of labor.
Course lecturers Dr. Samson Adekoya and Mr. Callistus Ojinta commended the students for their dedication, noting that every artwork reflected years of learning, critical thinking, and creative vision. They described Visual Alchemy 26 as a demonstration of the students' remarkable abilities to transform ideas into compelling visual expressions that inspire, educate, and enrich society.
We have taught these students here not just to be art educators, but to be art
professionals.
Some of the graduating students also shared their challenges they encountered while preparing for the exhibition, but expressed satisfaction that their perseverance resulted in a successful showcase of their talent.
The main challenge in ceramics production is the firing aspect.
One of the challenges creating these works, one is finance.
In Ijebu Ode, Fatima Hassan, Nta News.
We will be right back shortly. Please stay tuned. You are welcome back. The news continues. The Lagos State House of Assembly has approved the executive's request to issue a 200 billion naira bond and participate in the Federal Account Allocation Committee receivables to finance critical infrastructure projects across the state. Musa Toliat reports that the lawmakers at a committee of the House also approved an irrevocable standing payment order for the state government to engage an organization to handle mechanized street sweeping operations at the coastal roads in the state.
Was a plenary meant to deliberate on the initial request by the Lagos State government on bond issuance, which was initially committed to Joint Committee on Finance and Economic Planning and Budget.
The Lagos State participation in the Federation Accounts Committee.
Chairman of the joint committees, Lukman Oluma, who presented the report, said the panel found the executive's request suitable for legislative approval, and this also includes seeking approval to participate in Federation Account Allocation Committee's receivables discounting program to access funding for infrastructural development.
The committee recommends that the House do grant the approval for the 200 billion conventional bond program for satisfied issuance. And second, the utilization of the fund shall be subject to further approval of this House.
Some lawmakers who contributed to the debates threw their weight behind the executive request, saying the move is a sharp departure from conventional borrowing.
Federal government has said that, well, rather than wait and be collecting it monthly, let us give you some more money in advance of your money coming in. Against that, issue an ISPO that you'll be repaying that money that is going to come into you. So it's not a borrowing per se, it's not advance payment. And the beautiful thing is that it doesn't have any interest element attached to it.
Others emphasized the need for transparency to ensure the financing arrangement does not unnecessarily increase the state's overall budget.
I was expecting that the Commission of Finance would have looked at the aggregates of ISPO that we have, then expected incomes, so that we know what we are up to and our intention.
The year 2026 approved budget provided for a bond issuance of 150 billion. Yet, the chairman's recommendation is that we do grant an approval for 200 billion. I would like to know where the 50 billion deficits will be coming from and how we are able to approve outside of our approved budget.
Speaker Mudashiru Abasa, who presided over the plenary, described the executive request as responsible borrowing necessary to fund capital projects and accelerate infrastructural development.
Instead of waiting for the next 6 months of the year, somebody is giving us opportunity to access so that we can take advantage of the period to complete whatever we are doing. And I believe strongly that it is to the advantage of the state. Because you look at the inflation, the cost of materials and all this, which means what we are doing now can be somehow affected and increase, the cost. So having the fund now, we can quickly utilize it, and complete whatever project the state is doing now.
After diligent deliberations, The lawmakers unanimously adopted the committee's reports as recommendations of the House. The legislative approvals are expected to pave the way for the state to finance major projects, including the new Macy Children's Hospital, the Lagos Rail Mass Transit Line, and other strategic infrastructure projects.
To the energy matters. Reporting Nigeria's energy sector means turning complicated numbers and policy jargon into stories that matters to everyday Nigerians. This was the focus in Abuja, where the Nigeria Union of Journalists (FCT) Council teamed up with Chevron for a capacity building conference for energy correspondents. Lydia Sampson was there and files in this report.
Beyond the technical sessions, the gathering was really about people, journalists, sharpening their ability to translate boardroom decisions, oil and gas analogy, and pipeline data into stories that resonate in homes across the country.
Our duty is to pair AI speed with rigorous verification, editorial judgment, and ethical standards. We must learn how to prompt models for deeper analysis, how to validate AI-generated findings against primary sources, and how to be transparent with our audiences about methods and limitations.
It's very important for us to talk about data because that is exactly what we use for news. We tell people what is going on and we tell them in numbers. That's what journalism is all about. And when the numbers are not accurate, it means that you are spreading falsehood, isn't it?
For correspondents who spend their days chasing officials for comments and decoding NUPLC reports alongside other data from other sources, the training offered a rare pause to reignite with the craft's human core.
The AI, it's just the command you give to it that it gives you. If you make a mistake in your command, the result will be very regretful.
So it's for us to recognize how to deploy AI efficiently and how to use it correctly to enhance our performance on the job.
It can enhance our storytelling. It can also actually create graphs, charts, infograms, and stuff like that for you. And it makes both your print and your broadcast storytelling, very, very good.
Presentations focused on data accuracy in energy journalism as well as optimizing AI tools for energy reporting efficiency featured among others. The partnership signals a growing recognition that Nigeria's energy transition story cannot be told in numbers alone. It needs correspondents equipped to find the human thread in every barrel, policy and reform. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
That is the size of the bulletin from me tonight. Join Jide Moronfolu for the Yoruba version of the bulletin. Good night.